Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. Okay, I just had to make sure that I had audio problems. So we're going to start all over again. Okay. First, welcome to the Weekly Brunch with the Loon. And we're going to have a talk. So grab your mimosa, grab your drink, grab your coffee. We're just going to have a sweet old weekly check in talk. Now, today's date is June 8th, 2025. And we're just going to try to change things up a little bit and see how things are working. Let me just share this with certain outlets so people could see that we are having this now, because I did have some people jump in. This way I give you time to grab your drink, grab what you need. Okay, so that's shared. So let's talk about. I'm trying some new formats to see if you guys let me know how you feel about these new formats I have going on. So I try to stay away from politics, but politics is part of the news cycle, and we are going to talk about some news that we should be keeping an eye on. First things first, and maybe I'll refine it if you like the news part. Um, if you don't feel like putting anything in the chat, feel free to email me at the email in the chat that I just put in. Excuse me. So, first things first, Ukraine and the Soviet Union is heating up. Those of us who are around my age and grew up in the 80s know that this is something we never thought would happen after the Cold War ended, but it looks like World War III may or may not be around the corner. My suggestion is to prepare accordingly, and maybe we should have a chat on that maybe later on today. I don't know how I feel about talking about that. Uh, but it's serious and it does matter, especially if you're of military age and everything else. So we all look at the news, we just don't talk about it. But you know what? Maybe it's something we should. During the brunch, nothing's off the table. Another thing is we have some serious civil unrest happening in LA. And I did bring this up if you were looking at the other one. So I'm going to bring it up again. I'm going to share it on my screen just so we understand what definitions are, true definitions are. Insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. That is the definition. That is according to Google. That is what is in the dictionary. So if you don't like the way this is going, I'm going to tell you. Um, the attack on federal buildings and everything else is considered that. Unfortunately, in LA, last night was the second night of uprising, and retaliation against ICE agents. Um, Keeping my opinion on to myself on this, but it is considered that. That is where it falls under. So, and this has happened in New York City where I reside as well. So I am keeping a close eye on this, and it's hitting a little bit too close to home. Just saying. Okay, so that is one. Now we're going to go a little locally. June 24th is an election, and I believe the mayor who's going to run for mayor is going to be part of that. We have three main candidates we want to take a look at. Number one is, of course, on the Democratic ticket, you have um, Cuomo. You also have the current mayor, Eric Adams, who's running independent. And then you have the Democratic Socialist, Zoran Mandani. Um, so do your research. Whoever is whoever is elected is going to dictate the environment that New York City will be in. So all I'm going to say is choose wisely. All right. So that's it on the news. Oh, I'm sorry. This week was a very emotional week, depending on who you support on the argument between Trump and Elon. Uh, my suggestion: sit back, watch the show. Don't get involved. Um, I know a lot of people. My ex blew up with a lot of comments and opinions and speculations, but we're just trying to get by and we're trying to grow spiritually. But these are things I believe you should be aware of what's going on in the world. Last time I posted, first, before I go into the last time I posted, I missed last week's weekly brunch. And for that, I do apologize. It turned out I was in extreme pain. Um, I was in extreme pain from my back, which is part of, I believe, is part of the perimenopause I'm going through, which we're going to have a discussion on that one. Uh, a discussion we should always have, ladies and men, because men, you have to live with us, so you got to understand where this is coming from. And we also it was a bittersweet date because it was also my father's birthday, who is no longer with us, and I miss till this day, even though he passed a couple of years back. I still miss saying happy birthday to my dad and hearing his joy on getting that happy birthday. Um, and the hot flashes I've been going through. But since part of the main discussion is going to be perimenopause, we'll come back to that. Now, Memorial Day weekend was the last time I posted, and I hope you did the honor of honoring those who have sacrificed and provided the ultimate sacrifice for us to have the privileges in this country, in this space, in this place that we call the United States, that most people do not have the privilege of. You have war-torn countries all over the world. You have people still being sold into slavery, um, being used. And here we have the opportunity of, we have the chance of actually, how can I say, becoming more than we would be if had we not been in this country. I say this with with the biggest heart, because I'm first generation American, and it means a lot, especially that my parents' country is in disarray. Going there is not even an option. So I have served. I am a veteran, so I appreciate that. So Let me know what you thought about my Memorial Day dedication. Also, I do Buddy Check, which is Veterans Wellness, which is done every 22nd, supposed to be every 22nd of the month. It's a little bit harder when the 22nd falls during the week because I do have a day job. So, on that note, let's go to one of our main topics. One of the main topics is a joint topic, but it's more focused on perimenopause. Ladies, don't fight it. It's gonna happen. I tried. I tried to fight it so much, but it happens. It's not something you can avoid. It's part of the life. Um, but there's a lot of things that can happen to tell you it's coming on, which were signs that I didn't realize. Ow, excuse me, my knee is in a very uncomfortable position, and that's part of the problem. Our body changes. Um, I right before perimenopause hit, I was on a crusade on losing weight, and I hit my ideal weight. I am unrecognizable on my how I looked prior to. Um, I got slim. You could see it in my face. And now I've gained weight. That's part of the perimenopause phase, and it's not only us women who goes through this. Ben goes through this too. Um, Due to the weight gain, previous injuries that was manageable are no longer manageable. That's where the back pain and my knee pain comes in, which is why I missed. And I went through my physical doctor because it's very important. And I don't care if you're male or female. Females if you're going through perimenopause, males if you're going through your midlife crisis. It's important to stay on top of your health. Now, one of the worst things that us women go through, and I was told, and if you're a male and you come across this and you're listening this far, because I know you guys like to tune out on this stuff. Um, if you get as far as to listen to perimenopause, maybe you could answer this. I was told that men goes through hot flashes through. Now, what happened is that I with my back pain, once I started going through perimenopause, the first indicate once I turned 50, the first indication of the perimenopause that I went through was the development of my back pain. It just came full force, and I thought I had it under control. And then from there, I went to my doctor. I did everything that someone would do. My doctor, my primary doctor, does not believe in chiropractors, which I followed their advice only because I did try the chiropractor and their relief only. And now the chiropractor I went to, phenomenal. I went in there, got aligned, had a massage, went through physical therapy, acupuncture, and they even went as far as to give me shots to deal with the pain. The problem is, it only lasted maybe 2 hours after I left the office. That was no plight to them. It was just that the pain I was going through was far beyond what they were capable of dealing with. Now, I had to look at different options after that. There's a reason why I'm going through this story and I'm sharing it with you. So I went to my primary doctor. He recommended me to a bone doctor, a back doctor. They did the regular things. Unfortunately, that meant getting what I called an epidural, but it was I forgot what was in it. It was medication to help me with with my back, which only lasted a couple of days, which was better than the chiropractor. And then you could only get these shots 3 times a year, and then after that, it was surgery. personally, and the surgery for my back has come up ever since I've been in my 20s. So it's not something new, this suggestion. And my attitude back then still stands then now. No one's touching my spine. I just can't. I've seen people, first of all, it takes forever to recover from such a invasive, sensitive place. And I've watched people suffer from that. And I've also watched people fall into addiction because the pain is so bad. And trust me, I understand why the pain is so bad, because without surgery, I can't tell you, there are days that walking is too much. Walking to from my bed to the bathroom is a chore. Um, but I just couldn't do it. That I got bright all of a sudden. Let's see if we could there we go. So that's a chore too. It's a partly cloudy day here. The sun is moving over. That's why it got so bright over here. So I decided to go back to chiropractor. My chiropractor took my x-rays and looked at my x-rays and figured out what the problem is, what the problem is with my leg. And so we're dealing it with one step at a time. Now, keep in mind, I'm going through this pain, and this is for our aging friends. If you are over 40, you really need to pay attention to this. As I'm going through my fixing of this, I am having my hot flashes. If you've been through hot flashes alone is a test on so many different levels. Especially for me, up until I started going through this, I did not sweat. I don't care what I did, how strenuous the activity I went through was, I did not sweat. Sitting at a desk and all of a sudden I'm pouring sweat is something, and as you can see, I'm having a moment now. It's quite difficult, and now we're heading into the summer, which does not help. So my doctor, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe you guys have tried this and have been told about this. Um, my doctor suggested this. It's organic. I'm trying to get this where you can see it better. Okay, it's organic wild yam cream. It's supposed to help you with your hormonal balance, which is supposed to help you with hot flashes. Now, my doctor, my OBGYN, suggested that I have to wait till I go into full menopause before she could recommend any medication. She did recommend one medication. I don't remember the name of it. I asked her the side effects, and to tell you the truth, the side effects was not worth it. Side effects of perimenopause. That's enough. Women, now maybe when I have Can We Talk with Luke, Luke could tell us the male side of the aging process, but I only know the women's side of the aging process. Weight gain is a big thing if that is what you struggled with. Weight gain, I mean, like I said, prior to perimenopause, my my 44th birthday, I was on a I was on a journey. I was at the gym at least 4 times a week. At least 4 times a week, even went as far as getting a personal trainer, got to the size I always wanted to be, and it was good until it wasn't. So weight gain, sometimes if you start losing weight, because I did lose weight kind of quick, that could be a sign of perimenopause as well. Another thing, okay, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to hit topics that people are going to say are TMI, but it's not TMI because you need to know this. You don't have to be in the elderly stage to fall under incontinence. Incontinence meaning sneezing and coughing becomes your enemy. Um, that's the best way I could put it. It becomes your enemy. And that's when it started happening for me. Sneezing and coughing, it just happens. And at first, you start wearing panty liners, and then you go full on adult diapers. That's part of the menopausal process. Now, the best thing I could always suggest to someone who's starting to go through this is I advocate keeping a journal. In my journal, I record items I complete during the day, my spiritual accomplishments, and my health check. I do a spiritual check and a health check. And the health check is for you to be completely honest for you. I started doing a health check so I could go to my doctor and I have it written down, everything that's happened to me since my last visit. So they could put together and help me put together where perimenopause falls and where the normal aging process falls. And we could work together on a conducive, how can I say, a conducive health plan to help me get back on track to living a comfortable, healthy life. Another thing that we have to pay attention to, especially when you're heading the age process, and now mind you, I'm not a medical professional. I am speaking from someone who is going through this as an individual. And yes, we have doctors. We have those who paid a lot of money to become doctors. But at the end of the day, you are the person in the skin. And if you pay attention, you will realize what's going on with you, and you could discuss it with your medical professional and probably the old wise women and men that are around you as well. One of the main things you have to pay attention to is your gut health. I'm not going to turn into a commercial and tell you what to do, give you some pill that's going to fix all, but your gut health is important. Now, down the line, what helps your gut health is probiotics. Whether you take pills that have to do with probiotics, or whether you start eating probiotic fermented food and add that to your daily diet. I can't tell you which one works. I'm still experimenting with it. Um, Now, imagine all these things I just mentioned happening to you all at once. There's a reason why women and men tend to be grumpy when they get this age. It's a lot. Summer's here, and to tell you the truth, at this point now, I have my air conditioner going today, which I don't like too much. I don't like air conditioning. Um, it's a godsend at this point. It's a godsend. I don't know when I'm having a hot flash or when the heat's too much. That's what happens. That's part of it. But we are here about self awareness and self preservation and taking care of ourselves, along with trying to survive this crazy world that's developing around us. So, I did want to hit on perimenopause, and I am going to let you guys know how this is working with me. I just started it this week, so it takes time. That's another thing. We have to be patient. Oh gosh. During this time is the time you're least patient, but this is where you have to be the most patient. There is no one fix all pill. Um, if you've had injuries that occurred in your life that's starting to manifest again in this point in time of your life, it's going to take some time. You have to learn to be patient. Right now, yes, I know part of my back problem is I've gained a lot of work. I've gained a lot of weight, which causes other issues on top of the issues and symptoms of perimenopause. Um, Hot flashes, weight gain, incontinence, gut problems. And then on top of that, never suffered from high blood pressure. Guess what I have a problem with? High blood pressure. Hot flashes helping. Uh, some people even become irregular. Um, there's over the counter issue things that could help you with that. Um, but these are things that you have to keep in mind. So it's important that you have that colonoscopy. Oh, I know it's a pain. I don't like it either. But to tell you what, it helps, it will help predict certain issues that may come arise, which while you're going through these other things that you can avoid, you can get a heads up on other things. Colonoscopy helps. For us women, mammograms. I don't know what you guys go through, that one uncomfortable procedure that you go through, that the 2-finger test, um your prostate test. There you go. It's a prostate test. That's important to do too if you are a male. um all I'm going to say is I remember the year 2022. That was a very interesting year. um and no, I did not have to go through that. I am 100% female, but the person, if he comes across this, knows what I'm talking about. These are things that you and your loved ones need to be aware of. Women, if you have that significant other that does not believe in going to the doctor, you know what? There are certain times you got to choose your battle. This is a battle you should choose. Just saying. I know they don't like it, but you know what? You could find out things that can be head off in the past before it gets worse. Just saying. So you have that. So it's important for you to be aware of your health. I was a naysayer, which is why I'm sharing this with you. If you can't concentrate and you can't be mindful of your health, how can you expect you to enjoy these golden years that are about to partake on you? I remember a couple of years back, I saw a woman, and I'm sure everybody else has because she went viral. She was in her 70s. That woman had a body I wish I had in my 20s. And that's what put me on my health um, journey back in my 40s. I didn't know that perimenopause. Oh yeah, one of the other symptoms of perimenopause is being. I hate to say it like this. You become lazy. Become nostalgic. You lose your motivation. It's a mental thing too. If your body is going through so much mental anguish, physical anguish, it's hard for you to find the motivation to keep it going. You got to find the motivation. Right now, I have such back pains that it hurts to walk. Um, Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and that person, and my mom is the one who made me realize it, that person who's like, I could get up and I could make it, just said, just lie down and just don't. You got to get past that. I wish I could go for a walk. I have to admit, yesterday was the first day that walking, I'm not going to say it wasn't painful, but it was bearable. You can't sit up in your house and go, woe is me. You have a way of changing things, of taking control of things. That takes personal research, because what I'm going through is not what you're going to go through. My experience is not your experience. But on that note, now that I showed that, now I am debating right now if I should just do a separate recording on this or not. But I want to share a book I read a while back, a couple of months back, which was suggested to me by my friend, one of my best friends. And it made such a difference. And on occasion, this topic has been coming up, which is Mary Magdalene Revealed by Megan Watterson. I have to admit, with all my spiritual studies, Mary Magdalene is not a topic that I really researched because of what I was raised within the Catholic religion when I was Catholic about her. After further research about her, I have a newfound respect for her. Um, there's a lot of falsehoods that's been said out about her, and I think I'm going to do something separate, because if I would have a discussion, let us talk. Let's talk about Mary Magdalene. It'd probably be a 2-episode brunch, which I really don't think does justice. And I have my opinions, and it will be my opinions on her. But I have to say that there are things about her legacy that needs to be cleared, lies that were told about her, to the point where when I found out, okay, I grew up Catholic. So in Catholicism, you go through penance, communion, and confirmation. And during confirmation, you choose a name. And for confirmation, I'm not going to say my confirmation name because most people have a problem with it, because it's not a female. Because the only Marys that back then that I knew of to choose from was the Virgin Mary, which at the time, as a young child, now mind you, I was before 16. I thought it was very presumptuous to assume the name, and I'm not saying any insult to anybody who took the name Mary, but I felt it was being very presumptuous and narcissistic to choose the Virgin Mary. And back then, Mary Magdalene was known as the prostitute, which I found out during my research was a fabrication. I'll explain that when I put that little episode together. So, but she does have a very significant, and here goes the hot flashes again. She does have a significant education to teach everybody, but specifically women, when it comes to your faith in, well, they want to say Christianity. I don't want to say that too much because that's grouping yourself, but on your spiritual growth and your faith, if you have faith, if you believe in Jesus Christ. But that, I think, is a recording that's going to be separate because she needs her own dedication. But as I was doing research on her, it did bring to me and brought me to a different spiritual path than I was previously on. Let's be honest, I really wasn't. I was lost. I was lost at the time. My wonderful pagan friend suggested this book to me, and it brought me a newfound faith in my original teachings and realizations, and acceptance in a female role with some feminism in there, but in the right way, a healthy way. Um, Feminism. I can't even touch that topic right at this point because it's gone awry. It will have to be compared to our current state on the worldly front. Um, Again, I have to say all this is just my opinion. With the weekly charge up, I used to give yourself homework, but what I want to do is give you food for thought. If you come across this and you are pre perimenopause, I want you to consider what steps you want to take to avoid going through the misery that everyone that comes before you have been through and don't talk about. And the reason why it's not talked about, I understand. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is not the same. I've met women who are in menopause right now that never had hot flashes, that did not have the incontinent issue, that did not have the mood swings. I don't have mood swings per se because I actually keep my emotions in check. And I understand that if somebody's aggravating me, they're not doing it on purpose. They don't need to be screamed at. They don't need to be yelled at. And my perception of what's going on is just that, my perception. So I try to keep that in check and keep myself grounded, which is one of the things that's key when you're going through this. If you are going through this, uh, what do they say? You need to have a talk with Jesus moment or talk to your higher being moment because you're going to need strength and discernment to know when you're having your moment and when it's something else. So, that being said, I mean, my mom, and my grandmother, the one grandmother I lived with, has been pulled. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. That was the knee. And I never could tell because having an island women raising you, and those who know will know, they are always, how can I say, salty, to say the least. So if they're yelling, screaming, and going at it, um, it doesn't seem anything different. But I'm not that type of a person because I don't like that type of you know, attitude. I know I have to keep myself in check. So I'm not going to give homework, but do some research. Start journaling. I mean, I've always mentioned journaling every Sunday, every other Sunday. I'm talking about journaling. Keep a check on yourself. I mean, we have doctors, we have educators and stuff like that, but no one knows you better than you. So there's no one who should keep you aware of who and what's going on better than you. Now, you may not have an explanation for it, but the fact that you're keeping track is important. Now, I'm going to go off the subject and I'm going to try to start having more diverse things. Now, I know I said I wanted to start the gardening part of this channel. This year has been a little rough here in New York. I mean, and I have to say, I'm quite envious because there are people who are still within my gardening zone and they already have fruits and stuff. But for some reason, up here in New York City, spring was a little harsh. Even though I started my seedlings early, I'm still having trouble. I still haven't not had my beans come sprouting. They're struggling. Because one week we have rain, next week we don't. One week it was below frost level, and the next week we shot up to heat. So I'm still working that out. But while I'm working out the garden, I do want to start cooking some recipes. I'm going to start some recipes that that we could put together. Not this week, probably the next week, because then I'll go start some. Because I did say I was going to start with the Haitian cooking, which you would think I know better, but no, I'm going to use a cookbook, and I'm going to show you which cookbook I use, so we could get that going. Um, Today is also, I forgot to say this in the earlier segment. Today in New York, if you go, please be safe. We have parades going on, and today we have the Puerto Rican Day Parade happen. To my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, happy Puerto Rican Day. So they're having their parade in the city. Don't ask me where, because I don't do large crowds, nor do I do parades. But if you happen to be in the city, just go. Like I said, be careful, because a lot of the disruption that is happening throughout this country is seeping into the New York City. I mean, it is what it is. So you just have to be aware when you go out. I'm trying to think what else, because this is brunch. I usually eat during brunch, but I woke up and I needed my energy when I woke up, because even though I did have a good doctor visit yesterday with my back and my leg, it was a rough night. Um, and I needed to put some energy, which actually brings me up to another topic. Yes, I am going to be, I am, I am being a squirrel today. And if you have kids, you know what movie I'm talking about. Um, your diet is important when going through perimenopause and you're going through the age process. For example, I have always been someone who, until I was working out, I was eating 5 meals a day, meaning I had a hearty breakfast, protein filled breakfast, because it was mostly egg whites and stuff like that. I had a snack, which was half of the calories of, actually, I wasn't a calorie counter, but if you want to look at it into calories, it was half the calories of what my three main meals would be. I had a very big lunch. I usually had, for snacks, is either a shake, which was a protein shake, which I don't go for anymore. And then it was a decent meal after a workout that had mostly, it had more starch than protein. And that's how I ate when I was working out, and I had that ideal body I want back. And those who are my age going through this understand what I mean by that. We want it back. You could have it back. So after that, I didn't eat breakfast on a regular. Lunch was because of the probiotic issue, because I didn't realize what was happening. But dinner always happened. So my suggestion to those who are going through perimenopause and having the ailments happen, whether they are happening or not, I suggest that you keep a regular eating process. Right now, I'm about to go through a detox, and if it works, I'll share the teas that I'm using for the detox that I'll be using. We'll see how that works. And anything that works, I'll tell you. I kind of slipped up with this, and I forgot to use this earlier today. I know, because like I sit there and I suggest this for those who go through hot flashes, and I'm like sweating up a storm, is because I forgot to use this today. And as soon as I get off camera, I will be using this. because I did have some sort of relief, and I just, like I said, I started it this week, and I had some relief. Excuse me. Insomnia is another issue that happens when you're going through perimenopause. That is the worst part. You have hot flashes in the middle of the night. You can't get comfortable. If you're going through aches and pains, like I'm going through, you can't find somewhere comfortable. It's hurtful. You got to find the system that works for you. And women, you need to. I'm encouraging you. I urge you to have a discussion with your elders, because this is where we grew up. Our elders were the ones who helped us because they had the wisdom. They've been through it, been there, done that. That is them. I know most people don't like to hear that, but the truth is the truth. They've been through this process and they know what works in this process. Those of you who are islanders and out of the country, there are teas that they will safe to drink and stuff like that. But also talk to your doctor about what could help. Because I don't like pills. I don't think we should rely on pills. Here in the US, I think we rely too much on pills, and there are things. What did you say, Lou? There are things in nature that every ailment you have, nature has a cure. For every ailment there is a cure in nature. Now, I'm going to also say there are certain ailments, and I'm talking about the big ones like cancer and stuff like that. It hasn't been found yet that we know of. Yet. But look at me now. I'm in my 50s, and I never thought I could have this hair like this. That's another thing that women that you may want to, also men, because you men start balding at a certain age. That's the aging process. Us women go through it too. We just hide it better. We have awesome hairdressers. But also take time for yourself. I know I'm throwing a lot out there, but we have to pamper ourselves. And there's another book which I don't have readily available, and to tell you the truth, is too much for the back and the need to go out there. I know exactly where the book is, but it's too much to go over there. But I should have it for you guys for next week, where you could use certain steps that's been tried and true through the centuries to create your own home spa. So keep an eye out for some cooking recipes that I have finally am going to put together. I'm going to try to put together a video where I'm going to show you how I have made my kitchen more accessible. Um, when you're in pain, you're in pain, and that's part of the aging process. But it doesn't mean you have to neglect yourself. You can take care of yourself. You just have to know what to do. If it doesn't rain, which it looks like it's going to rain sometime today, if it doesn't rain later on, I'll be going on for a walk. I have my knee brace. I'm ready to go. Take care of yourself. I think if that's the getaway you're going to do this week, is what are you doing to take care of yourself? When's the last time you had your yearly appointment? Did you schedule your yearly appointment? Were you trying to avoid your yearly appointment? For women, it's 2 yearly appointments. It's your primary and your OBGYN. Those are your best friends right now at this age. For males, it's your primary. For everybody, is also your dentist. Make sure you go see your dentist. Make sure your ears are doing fine. This is a time for ear sound loss. Eye doctor. I tell you, and that's another sign that I should have known. Needing reading glasses and getting my eyes checked and everything else. You are important. And I put that in my book, Invista Within. You are important and you are responsible for you and your care. So for this weekly brunch, if you take away anything from this brunch, it is to take care of yourself in a responsible adult way for your health. Be aware of the changes that are happening, because changes will be happening. It will be. Um, if Sorry guys, but I have to go there with the ladies. If your cycle was on a clock, it's gonna stop. And from what I'm told, you do not hit full menopause until you stop for a total of a year. And that could be quite painful depending on how you go about it. Now, women, this is very important. Just because you're going through perimenopause doesn't mean you can't get pregnant. Um, Mull over that one. Just mull over that one. It's just it's a fact. So you have to take the proper precautions. Just because you're going through perimenopause doesn't mean you have free game. And from what I've been reading the last couple of weeks or listening to the last couple of weeks, it is, you want to be careful anyway, because there's an outbreak. That's if you're single. There's outbreaks out there of diseases that we thought was done and gone going rampant depending on where you live. And just because it's not happening in your area doesn't mean it's not rampant. It's just not reported. So, on that note, I want you to just sit down and meditate on what I've said and do your own research. There is something I'm supposed to be trying soon that I'm going to see if it helps with the changing body. I'm going to also see if I could start walking more and see if I could alleviate this pain. And I'm also going to hit the kitchen as soon as I hit this. I plan on making, those who are Haitian will know this name is called noix. English translation is usually called, it technically is called peanut brittle, but I call it nut brittle because you don't have to use peanuts. You could use other nuts to make it. So I plan on doing that. And there was something else. Oh, I'm going to make some akasa, which I was informed by my boyfriend in Scandinavia is called boku, I think, or boka. It's a corn drink, and actually it tends to be quite refreshing. But if you're trying to lose weight, not so much. You may want to stay away from that. But I'm making that for him to see if it matches up to what he grows up with. And once I perfect that recipe, I'll be sharing that with the to do. Um, Always expect me every Sunday to show up. If I don't show up, just know that the pain took over. But I'm planning on having more regular things. I'm still editing some of the other videos that has already been done, so it could be a little bit more digestible without the bloopers. And if you appreciate this, go ahead and hit the like button. Please share it with other people that may benefit with this. Maybe it could encourage more people to join the conversation. And if we have enough people joining the conversation, I will open a spaces on X so we could actually have a real conversation. And if you want to know when I post next time, just click the subscribe button and you'll be notified. Till then, have a happy Sunday. Please try to stay cool because I need to adjust this air conditioner because it doesn't feel like it's doing anything. And have a beautiful week.